Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another True You podcast with me, Paula Burns, Creative Confidence and Visibility Mentor. So, this is a place where we have open discussions to understand who we are in order that we can live our lives to the fullest. And every week, I bring on a special guest who shares their version of their true life. I say this every time that there is no one size fits all. We are all here on our own journey, and the things that one person loves could be the things that another person hates, and vice versa. But the whole idea of these podcasts really is to inspire you to find your true self and to understand what it is about you that you love, where you want to position your life, all of those things. So let's get straight into it. And I want to introduce my amazing guest today, Claire Clarke. Welcome, Claire.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's great to have you. It's great to have you. We only met in person not long ago, didn't we? We feel like we know each other because I followed you for ages and we've been
Yeah,
connected on
we have.
social.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that you were the type of person that I wanted to have on my podcast to share their story because I can tell just how much you love what you do. So let's get into it. Tell everyone, what is it that you do, Claire?
So I I help business owners, predominantly coaches, consultants, actually therapists, anyone that helps anyone else. I help those people to create a business book, but not the kind where you would write 60, 80,000 words. These business books are actually in the form of workbooks, planners, and journals, but they serve a very similar purpose to a fully written business book. So they're created in a way that elevates them as the expert, increases their brand awareness, and also it helps people to have a taste of who they are and what they do to then lead them to come and work with them. So yeah, so that's what I do in a nutshell.
Oh my goodness. Tell us a little bit more about the what sort of information is in these books and who,
So
you know, um, well, you sort of like alluded to all the different people that would work with you,
yeah.
but yeah, that's the types of things that would be in the book.
So if someone, a coach, consultant, therapist, a course creator, if you take somebody through a journey as part of what your paid services are, you take them through a journey or a transformation from a not knowing to knowing or a not understanding to understanding. We take part of that process and we put that into a workbook, a planner, or a journal to be, like I said, like as a lead magnet or to draw people in, but to give people an experience of working with you without working with you,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
give people an experience of actually, I'm working through this book and I realize, God, Paula does know what she's talking about. People need to use those books and get a result.
yeah.
Um, but you're not giving away all of your secret magic. They're
Mm.
still going to come and go, actually, I do want to buy your course. I do want to do your coaching. I do want to do, your kind of thing. But there has to be enough in there that they get that, they feel that, they get that difference, they start that journey. It could be the first part of the journey, and that's just enough for them to go, do you know what, I want to carry on this journey. I'll go and work with that person. So that's what it is from a very top level.
Okay, I like that. I like it. What is it that you love about what you do?
So the bit I love the most is working out what that content is going to be. So So sometimes we do it. So I offer this as a course and I offer it as a done for you. So sometimes I'm working with people one to one for the done for you, and sometimes I'm working with people with a group to help them work out what it is. And I love finding out about all the different kind of businesses, all the different kind of people that help all those different people. I find it fascinating because the range of subject matter that we've done is just, from
Yeah,
one end to the other. So I find that really interesting because, we've had people who are, typical, like you might expect, a business coach or a money mindset or gratitude. But then we've also had a brain fatigue management. We've also had the NICU, the intensive care for babies. We've had a swim school. We've had, I'm just looking over there because I can we're all on the shelf there to remember. So, like, you just don't know from day to day what someone's going to open their
Yeah.
mouth and tell you what they're doing. I got right then. I'm so excited now to see how we can capture the essence of what you do in a way that helps those people take their message further, reach a wider audience. Um,
Mm.
and that's the bit I love. I do have, it used to just be me. But I do now have two people that help me with the design. So we have design meetings together. I love those. I go, right, I've been talking to Paula, and this is what she loves, and these are the ideas I've got, and these are my first ideas, and then they take it away and they'll help produce that. So I really love that creative part.
Yeah.
And it would be so lovely if that's all I had to do, and I didn't have to do my accounts or my marketing
Oh,
or
just
my,
tell me
all
about
the
it.
business. If I could just do that
Just
bit.
do our thing. That's all
Just
we
that
want.
bit. And the other thing I really love is when I get often a little video or a voice note from a client when they've gone, my proof's arrived, and they're so excited, like, oh my God, it's even better than I expected, and they're so excited. And just like I get their book is as important to me as it is to them. So
Yeah.
when we go through that journey, I do get as just as excited as them about, about the milestones through the publishing process. And I just love to then see them take that book and then almost like not wave them away, but almost like when that's all done, and then just go, right, there you are. Your
Yeah.
book is birthed, off you go. And then
Yeah.
seeing them like walking into the sunset, hand in hand with their book, now going to build their business and bring people in. And I feel like I've done a real
Yeah.
helping them to reach more people, and that just feels amazing.
Oh my goodness, Claire, I can just feel the excitement. I can feel just how much you love what
Do
you do.
yeah,
It is in your blood. And that's again, that is what I love. When I see that with people actually finding that place that is their thing, their core, it just sort of it radiates from you, you
yeah.
know. Uh, I love it. I love it. Do you actually help them market it as well, that book?
Yeah, so we do full end to end. So we help them with so some people like, I've already got my idea. Lots of people usually have already a lot of the content in their business. And I work with them one to one to pull that together. Some people need 1 or 2 sessions, some people need more sessions. That's absolutely fine. We do all the design and all the publishing, but we also support them with the launching, with the launch copy, with getting it out there. Because I'm obviously, as you can tell, I'm really excited about creating an amazing book, but it's no good if nobody buys it. So
Exactly.
it's really important that we are supporting them again with that part. And again, some people are more experienced at selling and launching and they don't need much and they just want our resources.
Yeah.
Some will want our resources that we give them and they'll want some time with me to help plan that out. So
Yeah.
definitely it's really, really important that, otherwise we're falling at the last hurdle, aren't we? If we create something amazing
Exactly.
and then nobody can see it and it's not going
Yeah.
on. So yeah, we do
Exactly.
support that.
Okay, Claire. So I'm going to take you back to your childhood
Oh gosh.
because I love hearing these stories and I love hearing about where you are right now. But I
Yeah.
want to know how you got here. What makes you this excited person about creating people's books and getting people to find out more about others. So and I find that when I ask this question and people share stories or share about what life was like for them when they were younger, there's always a little bit of a thread or a big thread that comes all the way
Mm,
through their life that brings them to this spot and this
yeah.
place where they're being their true selves, they're doing something they absolutely love. So tell us, what was your childhood like, and then sort of growing up, and then maybe, like some of the other jobs you did before you actually got here.
Well, it's interesting that you said the word thread because that is quite apt. So I've always been creative, always been creative. So some of my earliest memories are always creating stuff and making stuff. And one of the big things was sewing. So this is why.
I did,
So
so I did a fashion course.
yeah, so I used to love sewing at home. I'd sew clothes for my dolls. I'd sew things, and it was in the family. So my
Yeah.
mum had a sewing machine. I was using the sewing machine as I don't know, so young. Maybe the foot pedal was on a stool. I don't know. I was definitely using it from a young age, and also I knew that I didn't know at the time, but since my mum's told me that my aunts worked in a sewing factory called SR Gents that used to sew the suits for Marks and Spencer's. So, you know, my aunties were sewing as their job. My mum was sewing at home, making us clothes, altering us clothes. So that creativity was always there. And I was always arty and crafty. And I did a lot of art at school. I went on to college and did art. And I went to university and I did fine art degree. And so the creativity has always been there. And when I was at university, I decided to get a bar job, as you do when you work in university. Got a bar job and it was brilliant. Loved it. It was in, anybody might know, I don't know, but it was in a place called Lincoln and the bar was called the Falcon. And it was full of bikers, goths, rockers, predominantly men. But it was such a lovely place. And if any of you that are in those communities, you just know how wonderful those people are. And absolutely loved it there. And I worked while I was at university. And then when university finished, the boss was like, well, you can work here full time if you want. So I was like, okay, I'll do that then because money straight away. And what happened was, I don't know how long, I was there, I was like, I can't stay here. This can't be, this is not, my career after all of this wasn't supposed to be as assistant manager in a bar. As much as I love the people there became friends. So I said to my boss, I said, I'm going to quit and I'm going to go to a temping agency and just get something. Because if I don't, I'm going to stay here. And he totally understood that. Totally understood that. I'm still a punter in there, right? You know, I still went in drag. So I went to this recruitment agency, got a temping job, and I was in this office. I just wanted to try some different things. I just knew I needed to not be stuck in the pub. And I was doing this purchase order job, I don't know, something. And a lady came up to me and said, my husband owns a graphic design company, and they're looking for a trainee or whatever you want to call it, a trainee graphic designer. Are you interested? I was like, yes, absolutely. So within the creative sphere, I had used things like Adobe. It was called different. It was called Quark Express then, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So then that became a start of the journey where I worked in a graphic design company. And I used to do all sorts of things, some of them really boring, some of them really fun. In the summer, we'd spend the time cutting out Christmas baubles for a catalogue because it had to be ready. And it was always like for 2 years in advance. So we'd have all these Christmas decorations. We'd be photographing them and all doing that. We used to do the co-op leaflet. You know, buy one, get one free or three for two. So we're cutting out the tins of beans on Photoshop and whatever. So we're doing all of this. So lots of kind of, you know, commercial layout and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all good. I'm like, I'm in somewhere creative. I've got a nice job, a nice bit of money coming in. And then that job had to come to an end. And I knew it was coming to an end. Like, so you only got 4 or 5 weeks left. The company wasn't as busy as what they thought they were going to be. So, you know, last in, first out. And I was sat in a friend's garden at a house party. And I'm kind of person to speak to anybody. So I sat speaking to this other woman. I was like, oh, hi, my name's Claire. What do you do? And she says, oh, well, I currently work as a dresser at the theatre, but I'm leaving in a couple of weeks. And I was like, that's interesting because I need a job in a couple of weeks.
I bet it went ping.
Yeah, hook me up. So, cut long story short, I ended up working within theatre, predominantly musical theatre, but also plays, working with the costume. So I started off as a dresser, working with a wardrobe manager, wardrobe mistress, we called them then.
Yeah.
And then I spent quite a few years doing that. And then I got promoted to being a costume manager, wardrobe manager, and I toured around creating these costumes and doing all this, again, being creative, organizing. So my job was to arrive at a venue, unload all the costumes, get them all into changing rooms, get them all organized, make sure they're labeled, make sure they're fixed, make sure if anything needed sewing, so sewing came back in again. And then at the end of the week, make sure everything's clean, pack it away, I'd go to the next town and do the next thing. And that took me all over the UK and all over the world. So I went to Dubai and all sorts of places with that. So that was amazing. And then I met my husband. So that was like a bad thing. No, I met my husband, and then I decided that actually I didn't want to travel around. I wanted to buy a house, wanted to get a dog, wanted to slow things down. So I then just carried on doing the costume making jobs, doing them from home. And then I had my little boy, who is now 14.
Oh.
the thing with the costume making jobs is that they were like all or nothing. They'd be like, right, we need 32 rat costumes for children by Wednesday. So you do
Oh
like,
my
like
goodness.
to do it, then you
Yeah.
wouldn't have anything for a week, and then you do it. And that doesn't work if you've got a baby or a toddler, because
No.
it just doesn't work. So I was like, right, time to pivot. And purely by accident, someone said to me, can you show me how to use my sewing machine? I said, yeah, of course. I'll come round on Friday and we'll do it. By the time Friday came round, she's like, oh, by the way, two of the friends are going to be here with their sewing machines. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, okay. Again, long story short, I
Uh-huh.
then ended up opening my own sewing school. So from
Oh
there,
my
I
goodness.
started
Yeah.
running classes, get your sewing machine out, I'll show you how to use it. And then I was pregnant with my second child. And that was going so well. And then I got someone else helping me. She was also a wardrobe mistress. So between doing her stuff, she was coming helping me. It was going really well. It meant I could set all my own hours because it was my business, set my own hours.
Yeah.
And we were about to start running more classes in a neighbouring town. So we were expanding. So at this point, I was, 9 months pregnant with my daughter. And then it was my daughter was born. My daughter died during birth. So when that happened, absolutely everything was taken from underneath me.
Mm. Yeah.
And obviously, I went through a journey of grief and all that. But from a business perspective and from a what am I and who am I now, I was very, very lost. Because in my head, I was like, this is me. I'm having a daughter. I've got a son. My son was just about 3. I'm having
Mm.
a daughter. I've got my business. This is how it's going. And these are the footsteps that I'm working in. And this is the journey I'm going.
Yeah.
When my daughter died, all of a sudden, that path was taken from me because I didn't feel like I could just go back and carry on with lessons like nothing had happened. Oh, I'm back now, here I am.
Mm.
And I also didn't have a new path. So I was very, very lost from that perspective, and also very, very sad and grieving and going through all of that.
Yeah.
So I went through a journey of like healing, of finding myself again. And part of that journey involved things such as, not straight away, had lots of counselling and lots of tears and lots of all of that. But as I started to, get better and build that new relationship with grief, I started looking at things like gratitude. I started looking at things like, actually, how can I plan my day so that I can achieve things? How can I look at how I can rebuild myself up? And I remember exactly when I've got this really, 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 really vivid memory. So I'm sat on my front step of my house with the door open. Rowan, the youngest boy, is asleep on the sofa. So I didn't go very far because sleep on the sofa he was nearly 3. Maybe he'd just turned 3 at this point. And I got a cup of tea, and the sun was blaring on the front of the house. I'm going to sit with a cup of tea. I'm going to sit with the sun on my face on the front step. And I remember distinctly the feel of that front step. It's like concrete with tiny little pebbles, and I remember the little smooth patches of the pebbles and the concrete and the sun on my face. I remember what cup I had in my hand, what tea, everything. I remember just sitting there one day and going, okay, I'm done now. I'm ready to move on. I am ready for something to change, and
Mm.
it's time for me to go and be and do what I want to be. I remember saying to myself, I get to choose.
Yeah.
I get to choose how I want to feel, what I want to do, and what I want to do next.
Mm.
So I am now going to choose. It feels like the right time. I'm going to choose for things to move forward. I'm going to make some decisions on what I want to do and what I want to be. So then I started doing this gratitude stuff and all this, that, and the other. And I had people saying to me, oh my God, you're doing so well. Like, I can't believe what you're doing. You should support other women that have lost babies. You should become a therapist. You should be a counselor, because they were looking from the outside and seeing my journey. And I did contemplate it, but I was like, I didn't want my life to stay in that place. So I didn't
No,
want to support
exactly.
mums who have lost their babies because that wasn't right for me. And a lot of people do. They do fundraising and they go and
Yeah.
help others. For me, that didn't feel right. But what I did want to do is I wanted to help other mothers who felt lost to motherhood. And anyone that has children will relate to this. There's a point where you're so in it, you can't see the wood for the trees. You're so in parenting, you can't see the tree. And they get to a certain age, which is different for everybody, but it's often around school age. Then they start to see glimmers of getting a little bit of them back. But the thing is, they don't know who that is because they've been through this whole journey of childbirth, of all that, whether they've lost or not, it's irrelevant in this case. So I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set something up, mums supporting mums. It's going to be like a peer-to-peer thing. And I was rubbish at it. Well, no, I wasn't. I was really good at it, but I didn't make any money doing it because I was like, yo, yeah, just coming for free. Oh, yeah, no, never mind. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And as much as I created a really lovely community and network for everyone, from a business perspective, it wasn't doing anything for us. But in there, I was like, right, these are the things I've been using, and I was sharing them with the other women. This is the gratitude. This is the planning thing. I was like, I wonder how I can get these printed without them having to print the PDFs at home, because we all know it's like printing PDFs. They come out, they're all wonky, it's all that. And that's when I found the Amazon KDP platform, which is the basis of my business. One of the basis is things we use in business. I was like, oh, I can put them on here. They can buy them. I don't have to get loads printed. I'm not forking out loads of money. So I did that. So I started creating these resources, and the women in the group bought them. And I was like, do you know what? I'm no good at this business malarkey, this online business, but I need to learn something. So I joined a course. And in that course, I learned so much about business. One of the things was you've got to be consistent on social media. So if you think back to when I was doing the sewing school, there wasn't a thing about promoting it. It was on the Facebook groups, and that was it, and Facebook events, and that was it, right? So I was learning all about being consistent on social media. I was like, what am I doing? I can make myself a thing. I can make myself a plan because I'd already got this developing this. So I made myself this consistency planner thing. And I said to people in the course, I've made this book, it's on Amazon. If you want it, it's cheap, go get it. If you don't, like, no big deal. I've made it for myself. And then, so a few of them sold, actually quite a few of them sold. And I was like, oh, that felt good. That was good. And then someone said to me, well, if you've done this, I help people train their puppies. If you've done this for social media, can't you do this for me for training puppies? And I went, oh. And then someone said, and I do this, and could you not make a version of that for this? I'm like, oh. I was like, I don't know if there's legs in this. And then, and this sounds really ridiculous every time I say it, but I share it. And then I had a dream. I know, it's that old line.
It really doesn't sound ridiculous. Listening to you and just hearing all these little steps, and the fact that you connected with that space and that voice that said, look, that doesn't feel right for me. I don't want to go down that path, but you know what? I'm going to do this instead. Those are the important messages that I like to get across to my listeners. Because there will always be people around you saying, they see the outside and they're like, oh, you're so strong, you're so this, look at, you've done this or whatever, go down this road, do that. But you have to get to that point where you understand what you need for yourself.
And what's right
that is just so inspiring to hear that's what you did. You listened, even to that point where you said you can remember sitting on that step and making that decision, because that's what life is. There's these pivoting moments that I can remember key moments in my life, where I was, what I was doing, who was around me, because they were so key in propelling me to the next step. And listening to you tell that story, it's so powerful. It is really, really powerful. And this is a type of thing that I like to share with my listeners, because, people think that you just, I know they know you don't, but I think sometimes people forget that we don't just wake up and go, and do what we're doing. It just doesn't happen.
And it evolves, and it's, it's from there.
Because honestly, hearing that, so carry on.
So these ideas were floating, but I'm like, oh, I don't know, like self-doubt and self-sabotage and all that. And then I had this dream. And I had a dream, and again, so vivid. I was sat on the floor in a room. The room had really high ceilings, really long windows. It was so dark. There was nothing in there, but there was me and a laptop, and then there was a mattress on the floor. My two boys were sat on it, and they were just sat on it like, like whatever. I don't know what all this represented, the darkness, whatever. And I just looked at my boys and went, I have got to do something to get out of this. We've just got a mattress on the floor. We've got nothing. I was like, right. And I opened my laptop. When I opened my laptop, like metaphorically, or like in
Yeah,
dream,
yeah,
it was like, right, I need to start creating these books. So in that dream, I was like, I need to start creating these books.
yeah,
I woke up that morning and went, I need to see if there's legs in this. I need to see if this will
yeah,
work. I
yeah.
can't not listen to people saying, could you do it like this? I can't not listen to obviously my inner me in that dream. This
Mm.
could be something for you.
Yeah,
So I went, fuck it, I'll do it. So I was like, right, come on then. So I reached out to a couple of those people and said, if you're up for it, I'm up for giving it a go.
yeah,
And that was 5 years ago. It might be 6 now. So it developed from there. I started off on my own. I was doing everything myself. I was doing all the design, all the layout, like every single piece myself. The products themselves have now developed. They're much, you learn things along the
yeah, you
way.
do.
They're definitely more effective now than the very first ones I'll make. I'll put my hands up. Nobody's perfect the first time you do something. That's why you got to do it first time, right? You've got to get it done out of the way because it's going to be rubbish. Your
Yeah,
first time is going to be rubbish, so you might as well
gotta
get it
keep
done.
doing it. Yeah,
Get it done. Yeah. And also now we offer a much comprehensive package, whereas before it was like, we'll design your book, there you go. Now we do the whole, like I said, we do all the thing, all that support,
yeah,
everything. And it's developed from there. And then a couple of years ago, I took on, well, 3 or 4 years ago, I took on one designer. A couple of years later, took on a second designer. And and we need to grow again because we need someone else to come in now, not from a design perspective, but from a business perspective to take that further. So
yeah,
we can see nothing but growth and good things going forward.
yes,
So I'm
yeah,
glad I listened to that dream, and I'm glad I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give this a go and
mm,
and see where we were.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And for people who are listening to this podcast, um, take heed to the things that are happening around you. The
yeah,
things that are happening, the voices, but also very important to listen to the inner voice as well.
yeah,
Because I say this all the time. It's like if you will continually hear things that keep coming up all the time about you. All the time, people will keep mentioning certain things that's really good about what you do and how you do it. And because you're not focused on that, you're just like, oh, I'm just struggling. I don't know what I want. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my true me is.
yeah,
Stop and just reflect and listen. That is so, so important. Just reflect and just listen. When I think back about the certain things that I love in my life, creativity is a big thing for me. I think that's why I'm drawn to creative people so much.
yeah,
As I was exactly the same. Writing short stories is a big thing for me. I was always a writer, somebody who comes up with these unique and crazy ideas. I wasn't scared to do things that were different. But then as I grew up, it was like, I don't want to be different. I wanted to be like everyone else. And I started to conform and I was doing all of this stuff that
yeah,
everybody else was doing. I thought, oh no, maybe I'm too much like that. But honestly, I've got past that now. but
yeah,
yeah, it is like, just understanding the things about you. And now I'm remembering the things about, how I love to write and how I love to, how I read things, how I read poetry, how I read books, the audio side of things. I've done events where people have said, oh my gosh, you really moved me with just how you read it. And to me, that's really simple, but to other people, it's not.
yeah,
And again, that's what I say to everyone is whatever you think is simple isn't simple, because not everybody can do
yeah,
it.
no,
It's you.
no.
It's
And
absolutely
not
you.
and don't feel like like you said, don't feel like you have to conform. So when we created
Yeah.
these books, I was like, actually, I'm going to blend this and this together. I'm going to blend business strategy and stationery.
Yeah.
As many people do, you look, okay, I'm going to do some research and see what else people are doing, how they're doing it. And I really struggled to find anybody else doing it. I mean, I'm not saying there
Mm,
isn't, but I struggled to find other people that are doing it the way I'm doing it. And I could have gone, well, I'm not going to do it then.
mm.
I was like, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then later on, I'm like, actually, we're going to put this in the books. Well,
Yeah.
traditionally, you don't put that in a business book or in a stationery book these things like,
Oh,
I
tradition,
do it.
tradition, tradition.
Yeah,
Oh, forget it.
let's go. And Yeah, and just on that inner voice thing as well, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this or you as well, Paula, is water. I don't mean drinking water. None of us are drinking enough water, but I get the best ideas or problem solving or whatever when I'm in the shower or in a jacuzzi or in
Right.
a spa or
Yeah.
sat by a river
Yeah.
or getting flopped about in the sea. And I just think find your thing. Find
Thing.
your
Yes.
thing that when you're like you're all kerfuffled or you're like, oh da 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 da, find the thing that's gonna help you for that. So
That inspires you. Yeah. That
one of the
moves
things
you.
I one of the things I say is tea is the answer to everything. So that's your first protocol. That's my first advice. Next time you're stuck, because if you're in the office, you can't necessarily jump in the shower, is go and get a cup of tea
Yeah.
or whatever your drink of choice is.
Just
Because
walk away from it for a bit.
you
Yeah.
walk away, but you're not walking away going, what do I do? You walk
Mm.
away, but you're doing something, and it's almost like ceremonial, isn't it? It's that routine of like you're putting it in, da, 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 and you
Yeah.
like so that's why I think tea is the answer. Definitely find your thing where,
Yeah.
for
And the
me, it's
more unique it is, the better. I usually say that. Just don't be scared of it being unique
yeah.
because that's the only way that you're going to stand out or you're going to feel the benefit of it is because it's different. It's not mundane like everything else. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid of that. Um, talking about being afraid, um, when you decided to do this business, and even some of the other things, because obviously it's been a very different road to other
Yeah.
people who say they were in like a 9 to 5 job and they just progressed and all of those things. So you moving into this kind of business is very different. Was that a scary step for you to take in terms of, oh, am I doing the right thing? We got voices in our head saying, oh, this is a crazy idea. Maybe I shouldn't do it. And people around you, how supportive were they? How was that for you when you moved into this kind of business?
So I think so when I first moved into the business, I was probably, let's think, trying to think how. So I was about 4 or 5 years after my daughter dying. So that's not a long, really, with the business.
Um,
And when I had that epiphany or that spiritual moment or that inner moment on that step, and something said to me, you get to choose. I think consciously and subconsciously, knowing that 4 years ago I'd gone through the hardest thing that I could have ever imagined going through, creating workbooks for business, what's the worst that can happen? You know? And I know that seems a bit like, I don't know, and I just think, and when people from the outside have said things like, oh no, you're doing so well, and you're bringing up your little boy, and oh, I probably should slip in there as well that 4 months after I'd had Bethan, I was pregnant again with a little boy. So
right.
I was like back to back pregnant. So I was
Oh my
pregnant.
goodness.
So
Oh
I've
my
got a
God.
10-year-old and a 14-year-old. So yeah,
Emotionally, that must have been so hard for you because you've just
yeah,
gone
yeah.
through the
And I,
grief.
I,
Yeah.
I don't. Well, I definitely was still in shock. I
Yeah.
think if I'd left it longer to get pregnant again, I would have been. I think being in shock was like, oh, I'll be fine, just do it, it's fine. Whereas if I had gone further out, I would have overthought it, and I don't think I would have done it
Yes.
because I would
Yeah.
have gone, no, now it's too scary because I'm
Yeah.
almost more rational.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and he was born. We decided to take him out early so he didn't have a spontaneous birth because that was part of the reasons why she died. And he was C-section, so he was C-section.
Yeah.
Like he was classed
Oh,
as full term, but he was teeny tiny.
yeah.
Anyway, so I've gone and done gone.
Oh my gosh, your story is so powerful. It is so powerful, honestly, Claire. Everything that you're describing there is just the absolute, the pieces fit together. They all fit together
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah.
And, you had to go. And again, people think, oh, well, it's okay for you. People look at the outside and they think, that it's really easy for anybody who's living their true life, really, enjoying their life the way that you are and I am as well. And they feel like, oh, it's easy for you because, you've got this and you've got
You've
that
got
and
that
blah,
and
blah, blah.
whatever. Yeah.
And they don't realize the journey. And you sharing that journey, it is just so powerful. It really, really is powerful. And I could listen to you for ages, but we're going to have to bring this to a close.
Can I just share one
Yeah.
thing about what other people think about what you're doing? Because I think this is really important.
Yeah.
So I think, so we're all in these different circles, right? We're in different circles with other business owners. We're in different circles with families and friends, and everyone sees things differently. And I'm sure lots of you have heard this, but whenever anyone looks at you, they see their version of you, and you will know what that version is because you are not them.
Yeah.
So everyone will have that version of you. And when you said, oh, how do the people, what were they like about it, and this, that, and the other, and my husband was really supportive because he could see it was the best, it was really good for me, and it was going well, and I was bringing money in. Yeah. But what was really interesting is my Auntie Jean, when she saw that I'd published a book on Amazon, she was absolutely blown away, to the point she sent me a charm for a bracelet that I've got with a little book on it. She was like, I'm so proud of you that you've created and published this book. And the reason I share that is because, like you said, we sit inside our own bubble and our version. We think, oh, it's easy, oh, it's this, and people want to do. Actually, when people don't know how to do what you do, people on the outside, I'm not saying they're impressed and that's why you're doing it, but we forget that our skills are our skills, and they're
absolutely,
we're brilliant at that, and and when we see it all the time, we forget that they are that good. And it's until other people like your aunt, or my mum always says it, like, I don't really understand what you do, but it's amazing and I'm so proud of you, and and I'm like, we forget that because we're inside that bottle. And just remind yourself that, if, especially as business owners, if you were to walk into the street and go like, how many of you are business owners, most people go, oh no, not me, I'm happy working in Tesco's, that's crazy, that's ridiculous. They see it as this
huge thing, don't it? Yeah, exactly. Because, as soon as you say what you do, and you're a business owner, and I say I deal with confidence and visibility, and I'm a mentor, and I also do events and special events and all of these things, and people are like, wow. and you sort of think, I don't know if you can hear my dog, but he is barking. But anyway, but honestly, we're just people. We are just people like everyone else. We've just found our sweet spots. We found our sweet spots.
Find the people around you that are on the same journey.
Yeah.
Don't overthink what you're doing. Do what you enjoy. Do what brings value to people around you. Do what brings joy and what brings you profit. And if you've got all of those three, you're on a winner, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've got some questions that I want to end with. They're quick fire questions. Okay. And I'm going to run through these and ask you, and then see what your thoughts are. I think I know the answers to some of them.
Okay.
So, some quick fire questions just to finish off. Do you understand what makes you truly happy?
Oh, do I understand what makes me truly happy? Well, I say my most favorite thing is laughing. And I think that everything needs to bring you joy.
I love that.
So yeah, joy makes me happy. Is that the wrong answer? There's no
wrong. It's not. It's a very similar answer that I would give. I love to be happy. I love to laugh. I love to be silly. Oh my gosh, joy is everything. So I love that answer. How are you with getting still to feel emotion?
Say that again.
How are you with getting still to feel emotion? So being in that place where you take some time, because you mentioned it about getting a cup of tea, whatever.
Yeah, I don't do it enough. I don't do it enough. I think I do it. I should be doing it earlier than I am doing. I do it and I'm like, oh God, in the shower, sit in the bathroom. Well, actually, if I'd done it a little bit earlier, I might not get to that point. I definitely don't make enough time to just sit with my thoughts and some empty paper and a pen and just blah. Definitely.
Yeah. And
This
I
is
think
my sign.
we're all guilty of that.
This is
But
my sign, isn't it?
yeah, it is. um, have you found your tribe?
Oh, yes, I have, and they know who they are. I'll be sending them this absolutely, and yes, I have absolutely.
I find that I have a couple of tribes, and sometimes, they all don't belong to the same tribe sometimes.
Do you know what? Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely. There's a couple of different groups, but there's
yeah,
definitely some key people who, yeah.
yeah,
It takes its time though. Like if you're listening to this going, oh, I don't have my tribe, da, da, da. It took its time. And to be honest, I was in a space for a long time where I didn't feel like I fit in and I felt very, very lonely.
mhm,
And I didn't like the way it was in that group, but I felt like I didn't have any other group.
yeah,
And then what I decided to do was like just remove myself totally from it, which was a little bit scary. Went off on my own, so to speak, and then paths crossed, and I ended up meeting Dawn, who we both
yes,
know.
yeah,
And she's a key player in my life. Like I love her like family. Dawn and some other people. So don't be scared if you don't feel like where you are doesn't quite feel right.
yeah.
Don't be scared to go, do you know what? I'm going to come out of there, which is fine, and just see what happens and see what comes in front.
And just open up more avenues in your life. I hear it a lot where people say, I just feel lonely, I haven't got anybody, there's nobody. And honestly, like you said, it does take time, because I have people that I've known for years and years and years, but
Yeah.
I've got a very special group that formed probably about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it is just amazing when you think about just opening yourself up to new
Yeah.
experiences, to new people, to
I've
new
got I've
conversations.
got business friends who I'm really close with. I've still never met. We've met
Yes,
online. We've still never met in
never
person
met. Yeah.
for whatever reason. I've met one I only met recently. Like, oh my God, we've known each other like 3.5 years. It's the first time I meet in person. Oh, look, you're
Yeah.
real. You've got more than a head and shoulders. Look at you. You've got legs.
And the world's a small place now, so there's no excuse not to create that tribe, because we can do, you can talk to people online, and you can,
Yeah,
do all of that before you even meet in person.
definitely.
Last question, last question. Do you love yourself unconditionally?
I'm working on it. I was at the Mental Health and Wellbeing Show Awards this weekend, and one of the speakers mentioned that, and I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I need to look at that again because I really need to work
Mm,
on that. Definitely.
yeah.
I'm honest. If I'm going to be honest, I could just say, go, yeah, I do. You know what? I'm going to be honest and say, I need to work on that.
Yeah. And the thing to always remember, again, I've said this before, is it's not that we're perfect why we love ourselves. It's because we know that we are work in progress, and we
Yeah.
just love who we are in that
Yeah,
journey. And
definitely.
that's what it is. That's what
Some
it is.
days, yeah, some days I could be a bit kinder to myself.
Yeah, I know. We all do that, don't we? I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, the unkind things we say to ourselves, if we ever said that to other people, we just
Oh my
wouldn't tolerate
gosh,
it. Yeah, you
I
just
would
wouldn't
be
do it.
cancelled. There'd be no online space.
Oh, Claire, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the True You podcast. You a total perfect example of somebody who has gone through a journey, found her way, and found the absolute joy in the space that you're in. So thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to share with the viewers about any sort of special offers you've got? Also, where can they find you? Where's the best place that they can find you right now?
So all of my socials are I am Claire Clarke because Claire Clarke was taken.
Yeah.
My website is iamclareclarke.co.uk. You can see there the course that we do and the done for you services. I'm more than happy for people to reach out to me, drop me a message on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yeah, and have a little look around. And if you're interested, I do sometimes run short mini courses as well. There's one coming up in November, but they do come up a couple of times a year if it's past November when you hear this. So, just have a look on my socials. So if you want to explore the idea of what a book might be, but not commit to the full process, that's a really nice way to come in. They're normally around £50. You can come in, explore what your book might be, and then you can decide from there if it's right for you or
Nice.
not. without having to jump all the way
into the big thing.
And I love doing that because it's me working out your book, right? That's what I love. So come and play. Definitely.
Great. Well, thanks again, Claire.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. You are welcome. And to everyone listening, I am sure that you have been inspired. And if you haven't been inspired by this talk, I will be wondering why. So I hope that it gives you something to think about in terms of, you know, what steps can you take, or what's happening in your life right now that can take you to the next level, to the next step. It could be something really small. It possibly is something really small, but that little step will move you to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. I will be back next week with another amazing guest. But in the meantime, keep being the true you. Bye, everyone.